Welcome to EDC's Week in Review for the week of July 23rd. Here are the top stories. To ensure financial solvency, the Cameron Park CSD is implementing changes in its ambulance and fire services. By canceling the ambulance agreement with the Dorado County Emergency Services Authority, the CSD anticipates saving around $180,000. Due to its low staffing, the Cameron Park Fire Department supports this move while committing to keep the ambulance operational until a new agency takes over. Additionally, the CSD is exploring two options for its fire department, discussing possible annexation with neighboring departments or proposing a property tax assessment to support the fire services. Throughout these measures, the CSD aims to uphold the current level of service provided to residents while tackling financial challenges. A vegetation fire sparked in Somerset, prompting temporary evacuations for residents. Firefighters worked to contain the blaze using air support and multiple fire engines. The fire burned 13.75 acres but reached 98% containment after continuous efforts. Another fire in Garden Valley damaged a home, causing an outbuilding blaze that spread to the residents. One resident sustained minimal injuries, and the cause is under investigation. In El Dorado Hills, firefighters quickly contained a vegetation fire near the Blue Shield building, caused by the construction workers' equipment near dry vegetation. The El Dorado Hills Area Planning Advisory Committee discussed modifying the Montano de El Dorado Master Plan Phase 2, raising concerns about the impact on schools and the community. The new proposal calls for incorporating 330 dwelling units and 4-story multiplexes, affecting existing retail property prospects. Some residents expressed concern about overpopulating schools. The district supervisor emphasized the need for affordable housing developments to address California's housing and homelessness crisis. The California Highway Patrol arrested an El Dorado Hills resident suspected of DUI resulting in a vehicle crash. The collision involved two vehicles and resulted in minor injuries to the other driver and a juvenile passenger. The suspect faces charges including DUI causing bodily harm and hit and run resulting in injury. El Dorado County leaders approved a proclamation recognizing July as American Christian Heritage Month. The proclamation, brought forth by Supervisor John Heidel, emphasized the incorporation of Christian faith values into American history. Heidel argued that it was important to reflect on the nation's Christian heritage during the month of Independence Day, as it played a significant role in shaping the country's values and principles. The proclamation raised questions about religious recognition and celebrating cultural diversity equally in the county, but passed with a 4-1 vote. El Dorado County Animal Services warned residents about the prevalence of rabies and urged pet owners to keep their animals current on rabies vaccines. Several skunks tested positive for rabies in the county, and residents were reminded to report suspected rabid animals and animal bites immediately. The Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association expressed concern over Assembly Constitutional Amendment 1, which seeks to lower the threshold for applying special taxes from 2/3 to 55% majority. ACA 1 would allow higher taxes for public infrastructure and certain public housing projects. The association opposes the bill, seeing it as a potential threat to California's 2/3 vote requirement for all special taxes and an avenue for continuous tax increases. Cameron Park residents reported falling victim to a car buying scheme, warning the community to stay vigilant. Several men, posing as potential buyers, contacted sellers and allegedly poured oil into the vehicle's coolant reservoirs during inspections, tricking the sellers into lowering their asking prices significantly under the guise of car issues, ultimately defrauding them. A semi-truck overturned on Highway 50 in Placerville after colliding with a Toyota RAV4 and a Tesla Model 3 that were turning onto Spring Street. The cause of the semi-truck overturning is unclear. The occupants of the Tesla sustained minor injuries and were taken to Marshall Hospital, while the drivers of the Toyota and semi-truck were treated at the scene. The highway was cleared by first responders around 1:30 a.m. The incident involved personnel from various agencies, and the authorities are investigating the crash with no suspicion of DUI. Placer County judge allows conditional release of William Stephenson, convicted of violent sex acts in 1991. Despite opposition from the DA's office, Stephenson will be released after serving 18 years of a 31-year sentence. He was deemed a sexually violent predator and recommitted in 2018 after a prior early release. Stevenson's criminal history includes prior violence and sex crimes spanning several counties and going as far back as the 80s. The judge's decision to grant transient release faced objections from Placer County Sheriff and District Attorney, citing public safety risks. El Dorado County DA's office came out in support of Placer County's objections. Brothers Cody and Chase Bomar have been sentenced to 16 years to life in prison for the second-degree murder of their former roommate, Jeremy Fortune. The sentencing took place after a year since the guilty verdict. If released in the future, they'll be subject to lifelong parole or post-release community supervision. Despite their young age at the time of the crime, the court rejected probationary release due to the heinous nature of the attack. Victim-impacted statements expressed the profound loss experienced by the Fortunes family. The Diamond Springs El Dorado Community Coalition rallied together on a Saturday morning to restore the Diamond Springs Cemetery's historical charm. The volunteers cleared away towering weeds while carefully tending to gravestones that hold stories from the 1800s, preserving the history in this little corner of our county. This has been EDC's Week in Review for the week of July 23rd. Thank you for tuning in.